most controversial pay-per-view in WWE history, took place today in the country of Crown Jewel. The show took place in Crown Jewel. It was also Crown Jewel. I think it's the first ever pay-per-view to share the same name of its location, but it took place in Crown Jewel, and it was also called Crown Jewel. I don't know where Crown Jewel is in the world map, but I hear it's close to parts unknown. So for that, I guess this makes it the first ever historic, groundbreaking WWE pay-per-view to take place in the city, the state, or the country of Crown Jewel. The show started off on the pre-show. Basically what you had was the pre-show panel was Booker T, Jonathan Coachman, and David Otunga. And instead of actually being at Crown Jewel, they were in Stamford, Connecticut, from WWE headquarters, doing the pre-show from there. I think it was probably pre-recorded. On the pre-show, you had one match. You had Shinsuke Nakamura defending the U.S. title against Rusev. Supposedly, Rusev was very popular in the last show that WWE did in this mysterious country. He was actually very popular, and they actually wanted him there. So I thought, maybe Rusev's going to. But when you think about it, it's on the pre-show. Nakamura won. This might have been the best match on the show. it wasn't bad. I thought it was actually kind of decent. Nakamura won. There was a moment we thought Rusev would win. Nakamura has the headbutt to the balls. Match was okay. So when Crown Jewel started, we saw the return of Hulk Hogan, who was the host of Crown Jewel. And when Hogan came out, he got a good reaction, not a huge reaction. The city of Crown Jewel seemed to like him. Hogan, he cut about a 3-minute promo. The promo was basically, I'm so excited to be back here in Crown Jewel. All my Hulkamaniacs in Crown Jewel. So, here Hogan, I guess, has a huge fan base in Crown Jewel. He got a decent pop. Again, it was a quick 3-minute promo. We all know the situation with Hogan. I'm happy he's back. I think he deserves it. He's probably the biggest star in the history of the company. It's him, Austin, and Rock. I don't know how you judge them, but I think in the 80s, that guy was just massive. I'm glad he's back. He deserves to be back. He's done so much for this fucking company. The people who complained that he's back, there wouldn't be a WWE right now, and it wouldn't be anywhere near as popular as it is without Hulk Hogan. So you can. I'm not defending what he said, but you know what? Everyone makes mistakes. We all fuck up. He fucked up. He said it was a bad time in his life. No one can deny that. His son was going through a DUI. He was going through a divorce. His son was in jail actually for the DUI. He actually, the kid he was with ended up in a coma. So it was an extremely dark time in his life. And he said some horrible stuff about the boyfriend of his daughter Brooke at the time. It was very racist. He regrets it. He's apologized. Okay, the one thing I did hate what Hogan did was when he says, you don't ever let yourself be recorded. Okay, that's bad. But you know what? He has before that. He did heavily apologize for it. Like, what do you want the guy to do? There's so many guys. The people who just want to play the race card, all these social justice warriors, these guys who want to say, oh, I'm not racist. Oh, no one's racist here. It's just a fact that you can go through the whole roster, the whole Hall of Fame. There's guys who have made some terrible decisions. There's guys on this main roster, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, who've made some horrible decisions. They have got second chances. They had like 4th, 5th, 6th chances. You know what? Hogan is the biggest star in the history of the company. I have no problem whatsoever with him returning because it's going to happen eventually. And people who think, Twitter, Twitter is this whole thing of, because there was such a backlash on Twitter now, WWE's going to take a huge hit. Absolutely not. Twitter is not real life. Twitter is a small microcosm of the country. Most people forgot about it. And Hogan's back. Deal with it, you social justice warrior, snowflake, bitches, liberal fucking cucks. You fucking snowflake cucks. You soy boy bitches. So fuck you guys. You can pander all you want. Everyone fucks up. The guy's back. It is what it is. I was never really a major Hogan fan myself, so I'm just saying that. So we can just go through all these World Cup quarterfinal matches because they were all house show matches. You know what? They weren't even house show matches. The way these guys worked, they were below house show matches. Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton had a nothing match. Jeff Hardy and Miz had a nothing match. Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley had a nothing match. And Kurt Angle and Dolph Ziggler had a decent match. It was okay. But, it's Kurt and Dolph. You'd want to see them go up and have a great match. Dolph won. They beat Kurt Angle quickly, which was bullshit. Kurt Angle's first singles match back. You had the Bar beat the New Day. The New Day had a cool entrance. They had this awesome entrance. They came out on this magic carpet. Also forgot to mention, Hogan had a huge pyro when he came out. So he had like this huge pyro display. The New Day, I guess, got their magic carpet entrance. It was, I don't know. Why don't you do that at WrestleMania? That could have been a cool WrestleMania entrance. You had The Miz beat Rey Mysterio in the semifinals. Nothing match. It was a shit match. The Miz is fucking horrible. I'm sorry. He's horrible in the ring. All his matches are boring as fuck. You had Dolph Ziggler beat Seth Rollins in the match. I am so glad didn't last long because I've seen that 2,000 times this year. Another nothing match. AJ Styles beat Samoa Joe in a nothing match. This was a match. They basically was just thrown together at the last minute. Joe was not supposed to be injured. I think he's still injured. So, it was just done. Joe's done. Joe's never going to get the title on. With his injury history, I can't blame WWE for not putting a belt on him. So let's get to the things I wanted to really rant about. The WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. Holy fuck. Oh my god. So, I'm thinking Strowman's winning the title. Brock's going back to the UFC. He's going to fight Daniel Cormier, who's fighting Derek Lewis tomorrow night at a UFC in Madison Square Garden. Brock can't be at the Garden, so I'm thinking Brock's going to lose. Strowman will win. It'll be a quick match. And it was a quick match. But Brock won. I'm thinking, you know what? I shouldn't have been surprised. This is what WWE does. They got desperate because Roman's gone. Vince probably got really desperate. And Shawn Michaels has said in interviews that whenever a guy gets injured, Vince McMahon immediately calls him. So that's Shawn. He hasn't wrestled in 8.5 years. You can imagine what he thinks when his top guy goes down, and Brock Lesnar, who, as much as we don't like it, is still a major name. He probably got desperate. He gave Brock a whole bunch of money, and he's staying. I think I don't even know if he's going to go back to the UFC. I think he just made stay. Because I don't think they're going to put the Universal title on him without giving him another long run. I think it's going to go to WrestleMania. I honestly think it's going to WrestleMania again. And this was horrible for Strowman. Corbin attacked Strowman before the match, and then Brock hits an F5, Strowman kicks out, a second one, and a third one, Strowman kicks out. Then he hits a fourth F5, but this time he throws him out of the ring. Strowman gets back. Strowman got one big boot in as his only offense, and Brock hit another F5, and Brock's the champ. Internet went crazy. Fuck. I mean, all the wrestling snowflakes. And Hogan comes back, and now Brock Lesnar's champion. Two fucking things that drove him nuts. I agree with you, the second one. There is some outrage. I don't want to see Brock as Universal Champ. Oh my god, this is going to suck. I'm really tired of seeing Brock Lesnar as the champion. Then you had the World Cup Finals. You had, so supposed to be Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. Something to myself. In 2018, Dolph Ziggler and The Miz are on pay-per-view. The Miz bores me to death in the ring. He's fucking horrible in the ring. And Dolph Ziggler, I wish would have left like 5 years ago. So, Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. The Miz gets hurt. Shane McMahon takes his place. And Shane McMahon pins Dolph Ziggler clean in the middle of the ring. Oh my god. I have no comment. Shane McMahon is the World Cup champion and is the best in the world. Shane McMahon celebrates with the trophy. So that's a triple whammy. Hogan returns, Brock's the champion, and Shane McMahon pins Dolph Ziggler cleanly to become the Crown Jewel winner and the best in the world. And plus the show is taking place in this unknown country that happens to be one of the most oppressive regimes in the whole country, in which none of the women are allowed to be there except Renee Young, who I'll talk about soon. Renee Young was allowed to be there. Sadly, she had to cover up her whole body, or it got to the point where all her arms were covered. You can see her hands. It's like she had to wear such a long, I think it was a robe, and they covered everything. She only can show her fucking face. It's absolute bullshit. This is complete garbage. They treat women like fucking shit. They're treated like slaves, basically. They're treated, they're treated as property to men. Slave is actually the right word, but they're property. They're property to men. They're treated as second-class citizens. It's absolute bullshit. They're going to this fucking country, and they should be ashamed of themselves, but they do what they do for money. Renee Young, she was horrible on commentary, I have to admit. And I think Cole and Corey really just ripping into her. I'm thinking to myself, she's probably nervous as fuck being there. I don't blame her. I wish she wasn't there. I wish she would have just stayed back. Say, you know what, I'm going to stay back with the girls. I don't want to go there, but she's just used as a pawn. And I will say that we did not even mention it. I think they know if they do mention it, they would have gotten crucified. So she really didn't even need to be there. You could have just put, Tom Phillips or Byron Saxton there. Did not need to be there. Yeah. I was not happy with the commentary. I was not happy. The presentation, they didn't do any propaganda like last year or last time they were there. There was no all this great tourist attractions. There was absolutely none of that. There was not a thing of that. And the one thing I liked about the show was the fact that the show showed all these kids, and you know what? You kind of think about it. Saudi Arabia, you can't say anything about the prince or the regime. We're not defending that, but. And Khashoggi, the guy who was murdered, that journalist, also he praised Osama bin Laden, said a whole bunch of awful stuff about Americans. Not saying he deserves to have what happened to him, but you'll never hear those far left-wing wrestling journalists talk about that. All these wrestling journalists are left-wing liberals who are using this to attack Trump. One of these journalists one of them is doing a fucking show, and they're having people on attacking Trump, and they're just using their platform, or basically being ESPN with wrestling. Yeah, you're going to lose your audience. So fuck those liberal pieces of shit who are just using this to attack Trump and Linda McMahon because they're associated with Trump. That's all this is. It's a bunch of political fucking liberal hacks, these cocksuckers who are using this to attack WWE because they're close with Trump. They're attacking Linda, and they're using this to attack Trump. This is all this is about. Obama, and if this was under him, this happened. When those journalists were beheaded, you didn't hear a fucking thing about them. And WWE actually went to Syria not too long ago after that happened. So yeah, fuck all those liberal journalists in the wrestling industry. They can go fuck themselves. You fucking soy boy bitch ass cunts. But one thing we would agree with is this show is a fucking disaster. This show was absolutely terrible, and to top it all off was this botch-filled main event. Shawn Michaels, after 8 years, makes his grand return in one of the worst matches of his career. DX against the Brothers of Destruction is the main event here. So DX came out as DX. Shawn didn't get to come out, to the sexy boy entrance. He just came out to DX. Him and Triple H come out. They're both bald. They both look old. And then Kane comes out. And Kane is fat. He's slow. He can barely move. Kane looks so bad. Undertaker looks even worse. Just can't even walk. These guys look pathetic. Undertaker and Kane are both completely out of shape. They looked way worse. The match was a fucking disaster. It was fucking horrible. It was miserable to watch. It was sad. It was sad seeing these guys, they were trying to recreate the stuff they did about 7, 8, 9 years ago. When the Undertaker had those series of matches with Shawn Michaels and the next two with Triple H, that period, they were trying to recreate that, and they're all way older. There's 206 years. Undertaker is 54, Shawn Michaels is 54, Triple H is 49, and I think Kane is... Oh, actually, I think Undertaker and Shawn might be 53. I'm not sure. But there's 206 years. I think Kane's 50, 51. There's 206 years. I saw that number correctly. All of them are very old. They all look horrible. Shawn looked the best here, but that's not saying much. He did the moonsault, which he looks like he hurt himself. Undertaker and Kane were so slow. And Triple H tore his pectoral muscle. He hurt himself bad. The guy who feel the worst about that injury is Batista, because I think, that Batista matchup, Batista badly wanted for WrestleMania, could be off with a torn pec. He's going to be out for a while, and he has so much other commitments in NXT, he might not see him back. So the Triple H injury clearly messed everything up. They couldn't do any of the spots, and they all looked horrible anyway. Undertaker looked so bad here, and so did Kane. He looked as bad. There's two major botches, or two major things that were funny. Shawn accidentally rips Kane's mask off. It was funny. And then when Shawn does the moonsault, he wouldn't wait for Kane. And you see Kane's face. You see him without the wig. You see the Mayor Glenn. That was absolutely hilarious. And the worst one was the Undertaker loses a match to his hair. So Undertaker, when you're wrestling, he's all sweaty. His hair is in his face. He blows his hair, comes back, blows it again, blows back, blows it again, blows back, and then he falls down. It's like he lost a match to his hair. This match was horrible. Eventually, Shawn gets a super kick. He hits Kane with the super kick. Him and Triple H celebrate. DX wins. Shawn Michaels... His grand return is a fucking disaster, but who cares? I'm sure his paycheck makes up for the embarrassment in the ring. So, match was shit. The show was probably one of the worst shows in WWE history. I'm not even talking politically. I don't even want to get into it. I'm just saying, you know what? I'm happy. These Saudi Arabia people have every right to enjoy wrestling as much as people in the United States do. So, it's I don't hate the Saudi Arabia people. They shouldn't be going there. I'm not going to go. I think people they're mad because a journalist was killed, and they're using that fact the journalist was killed to attack Donald Trump and attack WWE. This is what this is about. all these liberal journalists were attacking the show. The show was a horrible show. Worse than Backlash. Backlash at least had Seth Rollins in the Miz. This was easily the worst show of the year, one of the worst shows in WWE history. I'm talking as a quality show. It was fucking horrible. This was just a terrible pay-per-view. Just